Okay. Okay, this is getting ridiculous because now my sheet came out clean. I'm really sorry, you guys.
What are you trying to print?
My agenda?
Oh, can you just look at it on your computer?
I could, but then I feel like, let's give me one more try here. Sorry. Yep, here it goes. Talk amongst yourselves. Go ahead and talk about something, anybody.
Well,
does anybody have any good ideas of where to put the flyers that we got? I mean, I was thinking about daycares. Mine just came, but I just feel like so many grocery stores. That was one of my other ones, but I just feel like so many places are not.
daycares, I feel like if you could stand out, I know it's weird, but like stand out in parking lots somewhere and pass them out to little people that walk by. That's what my mom does. And I used to get really embarrassed about it. She'd be like, you look like you want to be in dance. And I'm like, you're creepy, but it worked. I think daycares are great. If you can find any businesses like that are willing to put them in their like lobby, like waiting rooms, like dentist's office or doctor's offices.
Or fitness centers or teachers, or yeah, there's so many places. I have a whole list if you need it. All right, you guys, we are going to start. And I know we have a smaller group than normal because I started earlier, but I am recording this so that everyone can hear it. And those of you that are here, I mean, you can even listen to it twice if you want to. So I'm going to first start talking about things non-TWD, and then I'm going to segue into TWD stuff because I know that's what we all want to hear. I will try to go faster than I normally talk, just because I know we're all busy, you know? So first off, I just want to say that I really worry about all of you guys and your mental health, because I've talked to a lot of you here and there. I've had some tears, and just want to let you guys know we are all going through stuff together. And I know a lot of you have really taken hits on your income with it being down. And I know a lot of you are hurting, and I just want to open the door to talk more often to either your reps or me. I am very happy to talk to you. So is Allie. We're going through it too. And I know some of you guys have even had to take on second jobs because you lost so many students. And then what happens is it becomes increasingly hard for you. Your job becomes harder. I was talking to Sandy House this morning, and she had to go back and get another job in addition to directing her program that she directs. And because we had to lay her off. I mean, you know, and can you imagine how horrible I feel over that, because she's been with us forever. And we're actually trying to maybe come back with something. But anyway, she just said, Sandy is so Sandy. She just goes, I now realize what all these directors who have second jobs go through. And she goes, before I didn't always get it. Like, why aren't they getting their stuff done? And she goes, now to get my stuff done, I'm getting up at 4:45 in the morning. I'm learning my dances before I go to the bank. So I just wanted you guys to know, we know the struggle is real, and we recognize it. And if we can help you in any other way, like those of you, I sit here and see lots of you that have other jobs, let us know, you know, or be like Sandy and set that alarm. And it's going to be tougher this year. We have said that over and over and over. So we got to figure out a way to get it done. But I do just want to say that even the hard stuff we're going through, where we have to get a second job, I think it's important to step back and think of, we are Americans and we have no idea what other countries go through. So when we think we're destitute, we are not destitute, you know. Hashtag American problems, because, you know, if anybody's ever, you know, I know my sister worked in an orphanage once in, God, where was it? Jamaica. And she said, she got home and she was changed. She said, I will never, ever complain that I don't have something, because I have food and I have a house and I have shoes and I have this and that. And I just think it's really important to think, you know, we may not have the same income we had last year, but we're at least eating, and, and I don't mean that I don't think your struggle's real, but I do think sometimes it helps for us all to step back and think about, it could be worse. I want to say right now, this has been a fun week at the office, and Christina will echo that. Not fun in terms of workload. She's looking at me like, are you flipping kidding me? But we have been having positive calls come in. We've been having, I want to join. I need my uniform. I've got a show coming up. And it's just been awesome because people held off because they didn't know if there's going to be a show. So we have literally been slammed this weekend or week. Christina can't even get off the phone. Stacy, the people that are answering, and they're like, I need it in 3 days, but what a great problem. I'm like, what a great problem. We will do that. And Justin said they can't even breathe in costumes. They're going crazy. So how fun, right? So we're on the upturn. And I think we haven't had a rush all year, like where we're so scrambling, to keep up. So that's really awesome. And I was reading a thing today on leadership this morning. And one of the things I read that just really hit me in a positive way is the pandemic has to eventually end. It's gonna end. It's gonna be over. But we need to plan for our recovery. Will we be ready? Will we be ready to take it when all of a sudden they all come back? Kind of like what happened to the office this week. Like all of a sudden we had all this people calling and we weren't quite used to it, So that's a good problem. But I just want to say, think about that. If all of a sudden, I have noticed personally myself this week, I've been the busiest that I've been all year, and I love it. I'm happy. I can just feel like it's really rejuvenated me. Dixie was talking before some of you got on about the garage sale sites, and I have had good luck with this week. Fargo Moorhead people, Carly, I think I got you one kid that I sent you. I hope you got it. Moorhead got 2 or 3. There's another one on there. If you go on the site right now, and I asked her, where do you live in Fargo? But I could use some help on some of these sites. But if you're on those sites, you guys, you might get lucky. And Dixie said she never had luck before, but she did this time. So it's important to know that people are starting to want something for their kids to do. So don't feel like you can't try something you've already tried and get a different result. So think about if you're going to be ready for this comeback and the recovery in terms of, being a little more organized. And if routines that you want to do once you fill back up, and I've said this before, quit taking it personal when you have drops. And we all, and I do too, you're just like, you got to be kidding. I went in for an endoscopy last week, and my doctor was a dad of 2 of my little dancers, and they had dropped, and he acted weird to me because he felt sheepish because his kids had dropped. And it was kind of weird because I've had him before for procedures that will remain nameless. And he was just chatting it up with me, which was kind of awkward at the time. And this time he couldn't even hardly talk to me. So people are different right now. And don't take that personally. They're probably hurting too, And something we were talking about today, Christina was saying that like some people that come in virtually can't afford class right now. That is nothing against you guys, So keep doing what you're doing and keep your head up, and it's gonna come back. The next thing I wanted to just talk about is, remember last summer when we did that ring class that was so funny, where we had the hypothetical questions and people answered them, and we had comebacks for everything. Nick, I see you're on here, which is awesome. If sometime you could find that and divide it out from the director's convention, or we could help. I think we need to listen to that again, because everyone needs a comeback when you get hit by a parent. And
Didn't I make it into a video or something? Wasn't it a video we played? Like it's like a PowerPoint we could share with them.
Oh, we'll try to find it.
It was a PowerPoint. I have the PowerPoint.
Yeah,
but our responses weren't on the PowerPoint.
Right. Our response.
Right.
I was playing them.
Yeah, you played like the PowerPoint, and then whoever's question it was answered it live.
Yeah. We might have to just remake that if we can't find it. But anyway, our point is, like, sometimes people will get upset and they'll call us and say, none of our parents want to buy costumes because they think we're never going to have a show. And then I'm like, is it none of your parents? Well, it's 2, or it's one really vocal one. and sometimes we let that, I say this all the time, but we got to keep hearing it. You let that one or two drive you crazy, guys. You got to focus on the 40 that are there for you, that are trying and caring and buying that costume. And when I said you need a stock answer, I just feel like, think about all the questions you're going to get hit with. And we could do this. We actually could do this on Facebook if you guys wanted to. I could write a few hypothetical questions and you guys could throw out your answers and it would help each other. Because like, I'll give you an example. I had a new 6-week teeny kick last week start. Well, my 6 week is full finally. It hasn't been all year. So I switched her to a full year class and I told her, I'll manually figure out how to stop billing, which I have no idea how in the hell to do that. Christina and Stacy will need to help me with that. But so she's just paying for the 6 weeks, but then she found out she had to buy a costume and she goes, well, I didn't know I was going to have to buy a costume. And I just answered back in an email, oh, you don't have to buy a costume. If you don't want to be in the show, you can just go to class. And a lot of kids, no, I didn't say a lot of kids. Occasionally people will do that and that's fine. But if you do want to be in the show, you will wear it again in mid-March. You'll wear it again in the spring. And I'll tell you what, she'll use this for dress up clothes for the rest. I said, my granddaughters are using my daughter's costumes. It'll be the best toy you've ever invested in that. And she wrote back, oh, I never thought of that. Oh yeah, we'll buy one for sure. So sometimes it's your comeback. Be secure, have some answers written up. And it's not live and die if a person doesn't get a costume, right? So, but I think it's working because those of you that are starting to push shows, they're flooding in. The orders are flooding in. Then I wanted to talk a little more about drops. One of the reasons we're hearing company-wide for drops right now is anxiety of the child. They have been off. They've been on Zoom. They haven't been there. And those kids that are rather anxious, what happens is they start thinking, I'm not going to be good. I haven't been there. I haven't seen my teacher for so long. I don't know if I can do it. And you think of a kid that maybe has a little nervousness or shyness. This is sometimes going to put them over the edge. So Marnie, you were talking today about your idea. Do you want to share that? Unmute and share it.
Yeah, we're used to saying, come to class, we'll give you a free class, that kind of thing. With those that are not really feeling like they want to come back, just remind them that you miss them. Don't necessarily say come back for a class. Just say, come back. I just want to see you. Will you just come visit us? Just ask them to come visit. In Austin, Madeline did that with a bunch of senior varsity girls. And then the last 2 weeks, we've had like 10 or 11 come and just visit. And they're coming back, at least half of them. So
you could say, come watch. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, come watch. And I guarantee you, if they get there, they're going to want to come back. And follow up with people thank you, Marnie. Follow up again with people who have dropped and just say, is your child feeling anxious? We've heard this a lot. We're going to take special steps to make them feel comfortable. So I just wanted to bring that up too. So, and start over and reach out to them again. Okay. So now, any questions on all of that so far? Because we're going to switch into TWDs. You could put questions in the chat and I will see if Christina will watch those. If you have comments or questions. And Christina also shared who had new students today and who, wasn't it 55 communities?
Yeah.
55 communities have had growth this week and have been pushing it. So that's happy news, guys. That's hasn't happened all year. So, you're getting kids back. So I just want to, for one thing, just think positive and do everything you can do. All right. So now we're going to start over with TWDs and I'm going to talk a little and then Amanda will talk. And Nick is on here too. So we're excited because he met with us on this today. So first I got to tell you, this year is different. Really? Yes. So would we normally be getting TWD dates out to you on January 13th? No, I don't think so. So things are different, obviously. So we're all going to maybe have to get up early and plan. So the one thing I want to just tell everybody is be nice. when you call back in. We're under a lot of pressure right now, more than ever, because we're trying to I'm running one competition in Brainerd on Saturday, the first one. Of course, we're the first one of the year. I'm like, why did I do that? Because now we have to invent it. But thank God Julie's doing a lot of it. But I just want to say, be nice when you ask a question. Try not to at us, because we're feeling a little mentally how am I trying to say that? We need a little love too. Okay. Thank you. So when this goes out, you will have to scramble. So I'm just warning you that. And it's going to go live on Monday at 10 a.m. So we're giving you the weekend. First we had Friday and we thought you would kill us. So we're now doing Monday. But and this is the way it's going to be this year. This is probably going to happen in another month, because we know right now this month. And I will tell you too, like with these first 4 meets or competitions that we're adding, they're all in studios. And some are I'll get to that next. But if we run out of space at them, we will add more. Okay. So we want you to get in. We're going to try to make it work. We just have no idea how many people are going to register. And we have written, we'll send this out to you in writing, so don't feel like you have to scramble so much. But we can't fit everybody in, the first ones that we want to fit in. So we're starting out right now the first 4 events with stuff that we can control. And I'll kind of tell you why. And Amanda, you can pipe in at any time, but most of our venues, you know how many of you we had 50 programs, 50, not able to have facilities this fall. And that's happening to us with TWDs. People that have said we can have them, all of a sudden, because we kept checking back all year, have said, well, we're not sure right now. Check back in 2 weeks or check back in 3 weeks. And so we don't have answers. And you guys kind of know what that's like because you go through it. So we're going to start with the ones we can control. So let me see here. So we're doing a couple different things. The studio competitions, we're having one on February 12th, 13th, and 14th. So it'll be a Friday night, a Saturday, and a Sunday in Brainerd. Then we're having one on February 19th, 20th, and 21st in St. Cloud. Amanda, correct me if I didn't get any of our changes on there, because this was changing as of today. And the question I have with the February 19th, 20th, and 21st, if you're a Minnesota person or Iowa or North Dakota and you want to go to that, anybody can go. If it's pretty far for most of you. Would you be ready for solos if we added that on that event? And if we did, we would add them on Friday afternoon. They would have to get out of school if they're in school. And we would
What's
add
the date of this one?
February 19th, 20th, and 21st. Yeah. And then on February 26th, 27th, and 28th would be Fargo, North Dakota. March 5th, 6th, and 7th would be where? I have Fargo written again.
Medina.
Oh, wait. Which one did we switch Medina to?
That's the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Okay, so we switched to Medina to March 5th, 6th, and 7th. Then the other great news, there's so much I want to tell you, I can hardly contain myself. Okay, the other great news is we're doing a virtual championship, and we are going to try to make it pretty cool. And it's going to be people from Washington, Oregon, Texas, Florida, Nebraska, Illinois. Every program in the whole kit and caboodle can be in this. Nebraska.
Yeah, even if you can go to in-person things, you can still do the virtual one as well.
Because it's going to be big. It's just going to give us a second option that we know we can control. Because if we found out we can't have anything in any buildings, we want to have one virtual option. And Nick, we met with him on this today, and we're figuring out ways to edit it, get it judged. We're going to, say we had the virtual competition, your entry is due on March 12th. And we will send out strict protocol for how it has to be video.
We bumped it up a week. It's March 5th.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you did that. That's probably when I was getting my taco.
But all that, you guys don't have to worry about, we'll have a whole document, like the TWD registration document that I'll email out. It has all this information in it.
And if you want, I could forward all these dates right now if I correct them, that you just have them too. So we can do that tomorrow. So if that one March 5th is when you'd have to have your entries in, but then the awards would not be until March 26th. Am I correct on that?
Nope, April 2nd.
Oh,
Then we're gonna stream the whole competition, like run it from like, so they can watch the whole thing with like awards in between and all that stuff.
And so the editing will be major, and we will have protocol for the direction you have to film and the way the audio has to be, because then this will be the most like a competition in terms of all the wees that are 15 kids and under will be in one group, and all the mini, where at the other ones, it's going to be different. So the studio ones, the protocol is going to be more like, I could compare it to a solo competition. Now I'm missing that page.
Do you want me to talk?
Sure, but I'm looking
So
for
the
it.
competitions at the studio are going to be a little different. We won't have any crowds at them. And we're going to treat it more like your whole team will come in and you'll have a chunk of time or your whole town will come in with everyone that you have registered at certain time slots. You'll enter in, you'll have 10 minutes or so to warm up, then you'll go in, compete, they'll come back, get all their stuff and leave. And so then once they compete and do all their things, we'll be able to give them their high gold or platinum for that team that day. But then all the other scoring will be done afterwards. And it'll be like how you so it'll be how you register with classic, elite, select, but we'll have all of the classic minis, and then we'll do like the top, whatever, third of it, and then announce that at a later date, which would probably be like midweek, the week after.
It's going to take a long time for us to get to that.
That won't take as much, I don't think, to tabulate and stuff, because we don't have to like edit video and things. So I'm guessing if that's on the weekend, we could probably have that out before the week is over.
The other thing that I just want to say is Nebraska, Illinois. Where else? We don't have them set up there yet. Iowa. And we have some plans like April, I got to talk to you again. Susie, I got to talk to you again. Sarah, I got to talk to you again. But one thing, we called some people that run, or actually Kristen Randall told us too, that one of the things they're doing in Colorado is utilizing, see, we're having trouble with schools. Schools are saying no, but we could go to businesses like a hotel and go in their hotel ballroom. And actually, just as I'm saying this, Amanda, I bet across the street from Brainerd, at Arrowhead Lodge, they're dying for business. So maybe we could rent ballrooms there and have more stuff going on to make a bigger event. So I just thought of that right now. But anyway, so maybe in these other states, we're not saying we don't want to have an event there. We do. We just might need your help, and we might need to find a facility. In Iowa, we checked with Mason City. We've reached out to Sioux City, Iowa. We've reached out in South Dakota. We just lost our South Dakota one this week. So
yeah, they told us we can check back March 15th. So I'm like, that's another one where if they give us an April date, we're only going to know a month ahead of time. And then like Luther College got back to me today, even though Iowa's wide open, they're treating it more like Minnesota, where they're not allowing, tons of fans. And we're going to have to do it the way that this is, where the groups come in, compete all of their routines, and the whole town leaves. Then the next town comes in. So it's going to be different looking at almost all of these things.
The exciting thing. Who was talking?
Sorry, there's a couple questions about the virtual competition in the chat box. Do you want them now or later?
Maybe in a second. I just got to finish this thing I'm talking about, the studio one, so I don't forget. Thank you. One cool thing that Nick came up with today is, and you're going to laugh because I was telling Steve, and he's like, but it's like February and March in Minnesota. He came up with the idea to put a big screen outside, like a huge, like a drive-in movie, and pipe speakers out there, so mom and dad can get out of their car and watch this competition on the big screen. Maybe we get a food truck in there, the hot chocolate, and I said beer would be great. Dads would be way more happy. And we tell people, dress for it. You're gonna have to put heater things in your boots and mittens on or whatever. However, today
we also would have like a live stream link too if they don't want to get out of their car.
Right, it could live stream
just to add to like the feeling of it.
And also today, after we met, I found something that they can stay in their car and the radio will be synced up if they're on the right station to the music.
Nice.
And watch it at the same time.
That's going to be cool. And we're going to try to do everything we can to make it more competition-y. Like we had a big meeting yesterday and Aaron Sloth said, couldn't we do a store outside, like with a canopy over it so people could feel like they're going to the event? And someone said, put the beanbag things out there so the dads can, I don't know. They're not there very long, but we're going to try to make it neat. And, you know, as we say these things, we might find out there's a glitch and we can't do some of them, but that's an idea to try. I even came up with what I thought was a great idea, but they don't think it's going to work. I said, what if we could have a microphone outside and parents could clap and cheer and we could pipe it into the kids so they could hear the crowd. It'd be so cool, but it would pick up the music and then it would.
That's where we felt like it was like too
try
much
a feedback. I said, unless you didn't play the music out there and just had the video and not the audio, because I know the kids would love the cheering. I think that would be cool, but I don't know if there's a way to make it work. So with those,
the next best thing for that is probably just having the parents on a screen in the area where they're competing. So that's
what we were talking about, that we could put like a big TV up and they could just stand there and like silent cheer them.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but it'll work.
So we'll get more details on this, but that's one of the big things. And Amanda, you were going to say something about the overalls. When the overall scores, like when you said Michaela's class won an overall once, and
so like what we can do with this, because so what's essentially going to happen is you're going to walk in with your team. It's going to be judged just like a solo competition where they judge you on the sheet. There's way more feedback on it, but the score gets turned in, and then it's not going to be like the traditional where they watch all 4 whatevers and then they, you know, rank from the 4 they see. The score is going to be entered, and then that's just the end of it. So what you're going to probably find is that there's lower scores for younger teams and higher scores for older teams that are just doing things, you know, better and stuff like that. So that's you might want to prepare your kids for that, because it's going to be the same score sheet, I think, unless we're going to do something different, but because it's going to be bouncing all over the place age-wise and things. So just prepare that there's probably going to be a lot of lower scores from those younger kids that aren't, you know, perfecting their skills as much, even though they're probably really great for 2nd and 3rd grade. They're just not, you know, like on the scale of things. But anyway, so what we're going to do with those scores after that is I'll break the schedule up just like normal. So I'll put all the classic minis, all the classic middles, all the classic whatever's at that day. And then we'll take and do the top scores of that group. Then what else we can do with it is take all of the minis together and do like an overall for all the minis, or you can even do like the highest scores of the day, which I know people are going to freak out because it's like, oh, there's 2nd graders and there's this, and it's probably going to be an older team that gets it. But what I was talking about to Cindy is when Michaela was younger, they went to like an outside competition, and their class that Allie had them with a lyrical thing, they ended up getting one of the top 5 or whatever overall scores of the whole day. And it was like the hugest deal to her. She thought it was just like the most wonderful thing that's ever happened to her in her whole life. So,
however, you could do the top score of the day, and you could
for
do
sure,
the top mini score of the day in the top. So like you could essentially have your team there, and you know.
And so I think they're going to have, the award situation is going to be a little different, but I mean, the competition's already a little different. So we're just going to have to, you know, it's going to be weird because it's just not going to feel like it normally does, but that's fine. I think because this year is so weird. So
we're going to make it fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my next thing that I'm really excited to announce, because we haven't said this yet, but in Jamestown, North Dakota, with a crowd of 2,333, which is allowed there, a crowd of 2,333 split between 2 sides. If you are up for it, on March 5th, 6th, and 7th, we're holding a big event in Jamestown, North Dakota. So that will be hopefully huge, and a lot of people want to travel to it. Jamestown is 4 hours exactly from Brainerd. And Megan, I think you're on here. We put Medina's on the same weekend as this because we knew that your parents would not want to go there after what you said on our little mini meeting. We had like a task force come together to help us develop this, and thank you to those people. So then that's why we moved you to on top of this one, because then we could get 2 events in that weekend. So that's still happening. Wapaton is still happening on March 13th.
Only March 13th. We lost that Sunday to a basketball tournament.
Yeah, and that's also what's happening now is a lot of places are having to reschedule stuff that they had canceled before. And that's partly why they're leaving us hanging, because they're like, well, we might let you in, but we got to see about basketball. So March 13th is Wapton, then Brainerd, we might get in the high school there, but if we don't,
do get in the high school, but we just can't have crowds right now.
we can't have crowds. So we are kind of going back and forth with if we want to do it at the studio or the high school, because obviously our high school is way more rent. March 27th in Eden Prairie is still on the schedule, but we have to check back in 2 weeks as
They're doing their section basketball.
Yep, they're currently adding basketball. So we just wanted to let you know we're on all this stuff. It's just like a daily,
I did talk to Decorah today, and he said that we are still on the schedule for the 27th there. And but we're gonna have to run it like we're doing these studio competitions where they're only gonna allow 3 or 4 towns in at a time. They'll dance all their routines, and then they can leave. He did say that each dancer will be allowed to bring 2 spectators with them to that one. So we'll be able to have some people there, but not like a full on whatever. So we'll be in the field house with towns in each corner, and then you'll just have your times that you can come in. So it's going to be ran the same way as the studio ones.
Okay, so I'm going to get to the chat next, but I just wanted to keep going with the schedule. What else do we have, Amanda?
And then Valley City is on the schedule still, and he said that it's there, but it's not firm. That's all he told me.
Yeah, so Jamestown is firm, and it's a big crowd, so we might have to pack it in there. If you want solos at anything, tell us. We'll open solos up anywhere pretty much, but we just have to know how many people want to do them. And right now, we don't know if anybody will be ready, because I know my kids aren't really. Allie, maybe you could tell me more.
I think they're more ready than you think.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good to know. So Decorah, did you talk about Decorah?
Yep.
Okay, and then and Rochester's still the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of April, but if we can't have big crowds, we have to figure that out. That could maybe change, who knows? But the other thing we wanted to tell you is May, start thinking differently that we will go into May with TWDs. If we can't get them in because we can't get in, let's extend our season and move them to May. And I think for a lot of us, we're planning to go through May anyway, and that will be a way to get them in and for us to be able to plan ahead and schedule. So, and why May? I think maybe COVID will free up by then. Maybe our guidelines will get bigger in some of these places. We need to make up our lost events for January, if at all possible, and now even February. Okay, so I'm going into the chats now. So I love all these comments. For virtual championships with a due date of 3/5, does it conflict with dance team in Minnesota since the season is extended? It may for your high school groups only, but I think they could still, I'm trying to think, when were we judging it?
April. That's what someone else asked, is if it's not being judged until, or
It won't
shown
be released until
April.
April 2nd. So I think that it should be fine, shouldn't it?
Right, but if we wanted to, I'm just trying to think this through. If we wanted to have high school do a different time, we could add another one for just those few high school teams that this affects, but most of the teams it will not affect, So, but it's a good question, Bethany. What groups can compete, ages, for which competitions?
It's all
Probably in general as a new director. It's a question.
Okay, so usually the competitions start at 2nd grade. Some programs have younger kids if they're mixed in with older kids, like if they have a broader span of ages. But like if we have a WE division, it's usually 2nd and 3rd, but like some people's WEs have 1st or K in them. Some of the lyricals have younger kids.
And I know like in Illinois and Iowa and other teams, they even had their WE petites, jazz and things like that do it. So a lot of times the directors will get together, and if they have a bunch that have WE petites, we've added like that into them if they have like a category that they could do it.
Amanda,
Yeah.
last week we had talked about at the studio competitions just maybe having younger kids since it affects high school dance teams in Minnesota. Is that still a thing, or do you think it'll be
We are gonna open it up to whoever registers and kind of see what's going on. If I only have like one junior hip hop or something, I might talk with them and maybe see if they want to go somewhere else or if they just want to be, and kind of see what's happening with it.
Judged
I'm
and-
guessing it's gonna probably be like we's, minis, and middles because the older kids are in season right now, which would totally be fine. That but there's might be some places that aren't affected by that. So yeah.
Sure. Perfect. Thanks.
Yep.
Kim said, so no high school dancers for sure in Brainerd and St. Cloud. I would agree with that. They will not be competing because when's the date of that?
Beginning of February and something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
February.
19th through 21st. And
I think state is, Heather, do you know the state date? When is it?
I can neither confirm or deny there is a state tournament,
Okay.
but I
See,
can tell
just gotta
you.
say, this is, do you
I can
know?
tell you
Okay.
we have not confirmed the model the high school league is running under. We are assuming we are running under model 2, which puts sectional dates February 27th and March 6th. And there is a meeting tomorrow with the high school league and activity advisory, and we hope to know more after that.
After that. Okay. So we think state is March 12th and 13th. Okay. That's what I thought too. So good. I love that. But it makes me feel a lot better that even as a state, like I had my parents meeting and it was like, well, here's what I know. And I was like, not a hell of a lot. I don't know when state is. I don't know when sections are. I don't know when our conference is. It's just the weirdest year coaching. But what's weird, people are rolling with it. They're fine. They just want to do stuff so bad that they're doing whatever we do. So, okay, what are the other questions? Oh, you have that in there. Okay.
I typed in all the dates for everything, and then I just want to tell everyone something. There'll be no spectators at any of the studio TWDs, no spectators at studio TWDs, and currently right now, no spectators at any Minnesota ones unless things open up more. Wapaton is going to be limited. Right now, I think it's 500 is what they're letting in. So it's going to be like a per dancer situation. But I think that we're also having to run that one with the schools in that way. Like they have COVID procedures that we have to follow. Decorah is going to be two spectators per dancer, and Jamestown is bring all everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Jamestown, I don't really know. We haven't really talked about how we're running that yet. If we're doing it more, I think we have to do it like the towns, right? Is that what we were talking about? But I don't know. More to come on that.
Oh, what she's meaning is, would we put all of West Fargo at one time and then all of Wapaton at one time and then all of St. Cloud at one time so that less people are coming and going in the building and people aren't hanging around? Because that's one of the big problems is that we don't want the crowd to stay. They will have to leave. Then somebody else asked, but all that, you guys, that stuff might not come out till, my God, we're competing on Saturday and the high school league's having their meeting tomorrow. It's like, that's how it is this year. And it's just the way it is. Carly said, am I correct that all 3 North Dakota TWDs are 3 weeks in a row? Yes, because that's when we could get them.
That was the only dates we could get.
That was the only dates. And we're thrilled that they're there. So if people want to go to one of the 3 or go to all 3, kind of when you're in the high school mode, you get into competition season, it's like every Saturday. So if they kind of think of it that way, they'll probably be very excited. Or you could pick one or the other or all, 2 out of the 3. But those are the only places that we're nailed down. So we're excited about that. We could also, Carly, add a West Fargo one later too, like skip a while and do it later. If you didn't want them all 3 in a row, but we're going to leave them that way because
but there's also a Valley City in April too. There's another, and North
the
Dakota's got
City.
a lot. You guys got a lot of options.
North Dakota, you guys are rocking and rolling, and but I bet we see a lot of Minnesota teams go over to rock and roll in North Dakota. So, okay, what other questions? What was the second Brainerd weekend? I think
I put all the dates in there now, so they should have answers to all that.
Okay. Spectators at Wapaton. What are the spectators in North Dakota?
They're limiting to 500 right now.
Okay,
But it could
except
change.
for Jamestown because it's so huge that you get a percentage of the.
And like what we're finding is like for example, Iowa, where they could have way more spectators, Luther won't let us. So like even though the mandate may say, oh, we're wide open, the schools are like, well, we're not. So like that's where
we're running into problems. So
yeah, so like where Jamestown's letting us have a lot more, Wapaton we could have more people there. They're just not allowing it.
People that are sitting here going, I wish our state had more, help us. You know, like I was texting people right and left yesterday or in the days before and last week but we didn't know we were going to lose Decorah. We didn't know we were going to lose Brandon because they were on our books. We didn't know Streeter was going to not be able to happen. So if we can find ballrooms there, like a hotel ballroom that we could rent, that would be ideal if we had 3 ballrooms. So we're not there. Think of areas. If your facility could handle one, I know April had thought her facility could handle one. Susie maybe thinks hers would. Maybe we could get in I was even thinking BV. We've checked with, here's the thing though, like Amanda checked with all the ones that Steph Work gave us. No one has answered us. But I will tell you, I can't even get answers from my own athletic director right now for stuff I need to know for a varsity sport. They are buried too. So if you have any pull anywhere, help us. We could use some help. That would be so awesome. So, all right.
Can I ask a quick question about the virtual thing?
Absolutely.
So just confirming, because somebody used the word registrations were due March 5th, and then it looked like in the chat it said videos were due March 5th.
It's
just confirming which one that is.
Videos, right?
Video. So we're gonna open up registration for the studio competitions. You're gonna register like normal. So you'll register whatever teams you want to go to the studio competition. You'll register just like normal. The teams that you're gonna enter for virtual, just like a normal TWD. So you'll like add it in. That'll be an option, like the virtual option. So you're gonna pick which classes that you want. We're gonna open up those registrations. I'll keep that virtual one open. I mean, really, truly, we can keep it open for a while. And then
because we could take as many people or as few people,
that one doesn't matter as much because I can put the schedule together afterwards, but then the studio TWDs we're going to open on Monday, these ones for February, those 4 studio ones. So we're going to open those on Monday and hopefully close them by, what did we say, Monday, the following Monday. It's only gonna be like a week and I'm super sorry, but like that will give me 2 weeks to put the schedule together.
We're a little worried. We're a little worried about how hard it's going to be to put the schedule together,
And I talked with Brittany and we kind of thought it'd be the easiest thing's going to be is I'm going to get the group like from Brainerd and then I'm going to have to call Cindy and Allie and find and work with on the order, which makes sense for your kids. Cause you might have kids that can, like the majority of this class is also in hip hop and they're also in this thing. So they can kind of stay around the same time so they can get their things done and then not have to wait.
You almost have to kind of think of it like a show would be like, and I'm using this for example, like if you have a class, like your Starlights have 12 kids and your something else has 13 and that's 25, you could maybe put them on 2 halves of a studio to warm up. But you can't have you have to keep a class of 25 in this studio. And you see what I'm saying? We can't, however, we're not supposed to cross pod, are we? That's not going to work. The other thing that I think we all have to rethink in terms of these competitions when you only get to get in at a certain time, like I'm the type of coach that normally, like for varsity, especially in JV, I will get my kids there 2 hours early and I'll drill the heck out of them before we compete. So they get their quirks, their worries out and their anxiety. We can't do that this year. So some of us, we're going to try to do some things on band in the car or Zoom. So we put the music on and we mentally go through it. They sponge it. When you get in here, you got to be ready. We're going to run it like 1 time or 2. They've got to mentally do it in their car. We have to reinvent this. So your kids come in ready. So that's the kind of stuff you can think about. Like I told my kids, they're all riding with their parents because we aren't busing right now because we don't want to cross-contaminate on the bus. And that was a choice we made for our team because our football team got shut down after 1 bus ride. And so we're like, okay, we're not going to put all our kids on one bus and ride for 2 hours or 3. So what I'm telling them is you have to walk in the school at 1:15, but I want you in that parking lot by 12:45. I want you sitting there waiting for a half an hour. So no matter what traffic you get or whatever happens, you are ready to walk into that school. Now, don't you think that would be a good idea to tell your kids that they have to, and then run like a practice in the car over, you know what I'm saying? Like count it through and drill it and go, now we're going to the kick line. You know, we're going to have to reinvent this, and we can share ideas on that on Facebook, but that is just one thing that I'm thinking of. By the way, I'm totally ADD in here, but welcome Cecilia. I hope I said your name right. She's our new director in, I can't say the cities right now. Undo for 1 second.
Rochelle.
What?
Rochelle.
Rochelle, Illinois. She took over the program in the middle of the year, so she could need it in like on a week's notice, and she started. So hats off to you. She used to be a head instructor, so she knows the drill and everything, but we welcome you. So it's nice to see you on here. So anyway, all
There's
right.
a lot of questions about masks and hooking on.
Okay, masks. Right now, in my state, we have to wear masks. Some North Dakota, I do not believe they do. I talked to somebody from there today, and I think Tammy Hermes was informing me, you have to have them on till right before you compete in North Dakota, but you can take it off during the competitive event. I'm wondering if that's going to change in Minnesota tomorrow, but I do not know that. I'm wondering, and that still would be a choice for your team. And we still could not judge, you know, like say you decided to wear your mask and some other team did not, we could not, we'll judge, we won't have faces as a thing this year. We're just going to have to take it off. I will get back to the questions, but I just want to say it as long as I'm thinking about it. I think that your score is going to be this, like, your posture is going to be more than ever. Your chin up is going to mean more than ever. Your body carriage is what we need to watch for with our kids. And, you know, your backs, all that kind of stuff. Just tell them this is what you're getting judged on this year is your carriage. And you can, like, a lesson I did with my high school kids today is look at how this does not look confident. Look at how this is confident. It's not if your face is smiling, it's your body carriage. So, hey, maybe we'll get better at that right now. That needs to be a focus for our kids. Not moving your shoulders when you kick. Like how you're doing what you're doing will be judged. Okay, more questions.
Hooking on. I think that can be a personal choice for your program.
And
we're hooking on in Brainerd and high school dance team.
But I've heard
my Brainerd second and third graders aren't hooking on, just so you know.
Not. So even within our own program, we're deciding what to do. I know some of the high school teams in Minnesota are not hooking on for high school varsity competition. I've heard Chaska is not. They're doing all individual kicks. It's up your community. Everybody's community is different. I think you have to go to what your community is. And by that, I mean, you want to please your parents and be aware of people that are very scared. So it's just different everywhere. And we will not be able to judge, oh, this team is hooked on and that team is not. It's a weird year, guys. So recreate the wheel. If you want to not hook on at all, let's not get, you know, put your hands out straight. It doesn't matter if you're hooked up. And I think we just got to let go of, well, we always did it this way, because it's going to be different. No one has checked with lacrosse. That sounds like a great area.
I have all these written. I'm writing all these down, and I'll make sure to check.
I actually have a good friend that owns a big facility in lacrosse, I believe, more than just great dance. And it's really cool. I will contact her tomorrow. So this is what we need, you guys. We need you to maybe put, like, if everybody could find not everybody, we don't need that many events. We need a few Iowa. We need a few Illinois, a few options for Nebraska, Wisconsin.
And Sarah's working on Nebraska. We have a thing going on there. And then the one person in Sioux City, Iowa, or whatever, got back to me to talk to somebody else. So I emailed that person and I haven't heard back from that, but I heard from them and they said that they're open for us to come there, but I just haven't gotten a hold of the second person.
And
So we
there's
do have options. What?
an event center in Mason City that we reached out to yesterday, right? Or we found,
Yes,
or
haven't heard back from them yet.
okay. That was one that a former director, Tina Willem, helped us know about. She said we can't
We have
get
a lot of like lines in the water.
yeah, we have a lot of, but nobody's bit yet. No bites on our stuff. So, April says, spin it as a great learning experience to be ready to go. Totally. Let's be ready. So start pretending right now, get your dances ready and get your solos going. And what if you had to compete in, when's the first one? 4 weeks, right? Is it? I don't even know, Amanda.
Yeah. Mhm.
I could get a team ready in 4 weeks. I might have to do a makeup class for not being together and make it happen, but we can make it happen. So try not to see the roadblocks, try to push through them and see what could happen and what could be. We all have to think outside the box, and there is no box.
Somebody asked about requesting a day, and we, first of all, busy. Yeah, we did check Cedar Falls, Iowa, and the part that's hard there is they had so many rules for like we had to go through Ticketmaster for our tickets, and like it was just it was really hard. So that didn't seem like it was going to work. Anyway, so Savannah asked if they could pick what day they compete on, and I know that you're a newer director, but for other people that are newer, usually when I send out a thing like and everyone's registered and it's a multiple day thing, I'll send out a quick Google Doc, and then you just have to fill out what day that you want to be on. So we'll do that
And
again.
we will. So the answer is yes. Yeah.
Yep.
And we can do that. And most of the time we can accommodate it. Once in a while, we'd be like, oh, would you ever be able to go on this day? We have too many people that want that day. So when do registrations open for the early March events that are not in a studio? Probably pretty dang soon. Our worry is we don't exactly know how to lay them out, but I guess we could lay them out after people registered, correct?
We might just need a week. I might just like after this registration kind of goes and we see what's going on with it. Probably the next week, hopefully. That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
But you could start planning for it.
Yeah, and I just need a little more information from the facilities and kind of because I don't know how many teams that we're going to be able to have at them. So that's what my problem is right now. I'm trying to figure out like how many groups we can allow to register. So
from our end, let's say the studio competitions again, we can have 40 on Friday night, 80 on Saturday, and 60 on Sunday. Is that what you thought?
I mean, that's like roughly, but yeah.
So here's where we're sitting right now. We don't know if we're going to have 100 people want Friday, 100 towns want Friday, 200 want Saturday. If that were to happen, we'd right away have to go, well, we got to do 2 events in West Fargo. We've got too many people, or we got to do 2 events in Medina. We're also thinking of trying to add one in Lakeville, which we never even talked about. And we will get on the other ones in Illinois. Illinois is still really locked down, which is one problem. We don't know if we can even compete there yet, but you definitely can do the virtual option. So I know I'm going all the way around. Streeters waiting on Illinois High School Association to make a decision on sports. They had a meeting today and they're pausing until January 25th when they will meet again. You're pausing sports again? Yes, they are, right? Because you're not even back yet. Okay, so you guys, and then as we do this stuff, I think a lot of you will prefer the ones where you see no one else, your parents don't see anyone else, we stay safe and we stay open. I mean, that's what we got to think about. So plans for, like, I've been like at my high school practices right now, hand sanitizing every kid when they come in and doing it all, trying to really stay safe. I'm even doing my computer in between, and I know a lot of you guys are really going on the extra mile to keep our kids safe. So anything else in the chat that I'm missing?
I'm sorry, I am apparently the question box tonight. So I get before I ask my question, and I'm totally okay if you shut me down on this because I totally realize you all have had conversations ahead of what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
If for some reason we don't get into Brainerd High School or Eden Prairie High School, was there a conversation about going back and doing one more in studio?
For sure. That's what we will do. I think that's a great idea. We want to keep our kids competing. So we're just holding off for those bigger venues. But here's our other thought. We want to try these and see how they go. You know, that's why we're doing, what's the first one? Is it
Brainerd.
Brainerd? That's why we did that. So we could have multiple people there, make
And
sure
if these go better, if these go well, and we feel like, you know what, we don't want to mess around with these schools and we're just going to kind of deal with this, we could start doing these, you know, multiples in a bunch of weekends and get stuff in. We've never done it before. So we're just trying to figure this out as we go.
Oh, and those of you that are in a physical building, I know there's like, why can't I talk right now? DeKalb, April actually videoed the studio for me and sent it to me so that we could see how big it was. And she walked me through the whole thing. I think others, you know, I was wondering, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, I know Jennifer, you're in a facility. Do you think it would be big enough to have 3 teams at a time? The problem with the size of these is like in Brainerd, you know, we have 3 spaces and the lobby. We now have the store space. So we essentially could have a group in the wood studio, a group in the store, a group in the ballet studio, and then the competing team in here. And so we could have 3 groups there at a time. And I don't know if the other facilities would allow that. So what it would end up doing is making the day way longer with less teams there. But we could do it if we had to. We might have to do 5 weekends, you know, but we're gonna have to have more help if we do that. But if you guys have a question or a solution, start thinking and, you know, email me with it. You know, we have to think outside the box because we want to get these kids competing. So, and I agree with Amanda. We keep getting, you know, it's kind of like Illinois still doesn't know what they're doing. If these places don't know what they're doing, at least we can control the studios that you guys rent from or that we own, and maybe a ballroom that is not owned by a school. So we want to make it happen, and your connections will be helpful. We might do a Google Doc for your connections rather than have all of you email us, because I just don't know if we could handle it right now. I get worried that we forget. And something, by the way, if you reply to like a mass email, if you possibly can reply separate, because sometimes I feel like I miss stuff because it comes in a string. Or is there a way I can undo that, Allie? There is?
Well,
I
yeah.
just realized that after I said it. I think there's a way you can undo it, but I can't find always when people email me. I'll figure that out.
But that shouldn't make a difference if they reply all or not.
No,
No,
I don't.
I think it's saying like replying to the email, like her conversations are staying all together. We
My
can talk about it
conversations
tomorrow.
are staying around. I'll figure that out. I don't need to worry you guys with that. Okay. But I do think it'd be better to do a Google Doc with what is a possible facility in your area. And then you could do the legwork on the phone number and the contact people rather than email us. Then it would all be in one spreadsheet for us. That'd be super. Wouldn't it, Amanda? Rather than separate emails. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I feel like I've talked like a blue streak. What else can we help you with?
I'll send that TWD registration packet out tomorrow, or if I can maybe work on it tonight and just get all this information in there. And it'll go over like how to register for anyone that hasn't registered. And it's going to be the exact same as last year.
Carly, 14 shows on Saturday, bless your heart. I'm running a competition too. So like I say, you know, if you want to just email in, or, you know, when it registers, you're going to get in. I think it'll be no problem. Or we'll add on another weekend. We could combine, like, that's the great thing about these studios is, let's say we couldn't get everybody in on that weekend. We could hold the scores and do some, you know, Friday night ones, or, you know, we're going to make it work. Pick the date you want and we'll make it happen. So don't worry about not getting in. That's kind of what we wanted to tell you, is it is last minute. We can't help it, you know? So just kind of figure out what teams you'd want to bring. And you could even, you know, I don't want everybody emailing Amanda, but in a situation like that where she has something all day, you could say, I think I'm going to have 12 teams, block me 12, you know.
Email me.
Email her that you want 12 or 15, or like, I know some places have we'll have 40 groups. So that's all we would need to know. Yeah.
So can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
just to make sure I understand too, so the packet that Amanda's sending out for registration, that's specific to the studio competition dates that you mentioned, right?
That's what will come out first, correct?
First, okay.
All right. And let's just say it isn't even developed yet, so we're getting there. So, yeah. And I know you guys have a lot of questions, and we're going to try to answer.
Maybe something that you could add to the Google Doc is just ask each program how many soloists they have and if they're ready, how many are ready maybe.
Okay. And also we could ask how many events you want to go to, because that's going to help us know how many events we need. Some people take 5 competitions a year, you know, and we don't want to limit you. The more we can get our kids competing, the better it is for all of us. So, yeah. So I'm excited about this. I hope you are. It's the best thing we can think of. I'm trying to read here. Oh, like Kim said, you could bring your high school team without them. You could, Kim, you could do that, you know, or there will be stuff after the fact. It's just such a, oh, by the way, that's a great question that I'm glad you brought up, because I forgot to say, that's one of the things the league is voting on right now, whether they can break that rule because of the weird year. These studio owners in Minnesota are up in arms because, they've paid for competitions at these different competitions like Showbiz and whatnot, and they didn't get refunds from last year. And so their parents are really mad. So now the state got extended. That was when they were supposed to compete, and they've already paid their money. So State High School League may be throwing that rule out, and we will find that out tomorrow. So yeah, that's happening. All right. I don't have anything else. And if you do, we'll stay on here a second if anybody wants to ask questions. And I thank you for your time once again. You're awesome.
Cindy, do you know, for hip hop, can kids in high school dance team compete hip hop, since that's not a MSHSL like one?
I do not think so. I think that's pushing the envelope a little bit.
Like a gray area.
It's a gray area.
Okay.
I think if there's, you know, let's wait and find out tomorrow what they say. And Kim, we could add some after, you know, their coach wants them to focus on high school team right now. And that was the whole reason for the rule. And I just think let's, you know, maybe we can add on high school teams only, you know, at a certain event. We're actually thinking senior kicks, you know, for the showcase today. We were trying to hammer that through too, how different that's going to look. And oh my gosh, you know, just take a thing at a time, right? Maybe we'll have to do showcase virtual. I don't want to, but we might have to, you know? So.
Can I ask another question?
I love questions.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
can't believe nobody else has any questions.
No, that's okay.
Okay. The virtual thing. So I feel like when you were first starting to talk about the virtual comp, it made me feel like that was our nationals. It's not our nationals.
No.
It's just an alternative to
Yeah.
all the competitions we're doing.
Well, we've lost so many, Heather. We've lost, you know, look at the ones that we planned on that we can't get. It was also
the January ones are done.
No, and that's totally fine. I'm just, so like we have studio we can go to, you can do the virtual, you can try to get into the building ones, like the high school ones, if we're able to get into the high school.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the part I was confused on. So the virtual is just like what the studio would be. We'd tape our kids, send it in, they get judged, you're gonna put it all together.
Well, Matt, first, can you go downstairs?
The difference though would be
He's on the phone behind me, and I'm like, I can't do this. The only thing I was telling Cindy is the thing that about the virtual one that I like is that's probably going to be the only one that feels like a real TWD, because we're going to be able to make divisions, and it'll be like the 4 or 5 teams, and it'll be like the little awards, and it'll be more normal because we don't have to deal with crowds or people or anything like that. So we'll get the videos in. I'll make a schedule. You'll see exactly who you're competing against. We're going to link all those videos together and send all of that division to the judge, so they get to watch every single team in a row, just like they would at a normal competition. They're going to judge it like a normal thing, do your ranks. You'll have those scores like that. So that virtual one is probably going to feel the most normal, which is so funny to say. The one online is going to feel the most normal.
And then we'll get a packet specific to the virtual one.
Yes.
Got
Because
it.
it's going to have different like specifications on what Nick needs for videoing and things like that.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. What I would love you to do is, if you have further questions, you can sure post them on Facebook, and I will try to be very attentive to answering them, okay? You guys, thank you, and I hope you had, learned a few new things, and it's a lot to wrap your head around. I know that. Like, you're gonna have to go back and absorb it all. So thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye, Cindy.
Bye. Bye, honey. How are you?
Say good. Good.
Are you good? Oh, it's good to see you.
I'm having a dance vacation.
You're gonna be in a
winter show.
My winter show.
Oh, that is awesome.
We're gonna dance the Frozen song.
You're doing Frozen? Oh, I love that. All right.
I always watch Frozen too.
You do? Oh, me too. I love it.
I do.
Oh, we'll see you later, honey.
Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. That was precious.
That was like the cutest thing ever.
Oh, that was cute. All right, you guys. See you later. Bye-bye.